Hey guys, welcome back to the Day in the Life podcast, Career Insights brought to you by ConsultSpot. Here we interview people from various careers, learn a little bit about their day to day, what it takes to get their role, compensation, etc., to try and help you make more informed career decisions and learn about your options. On today's episode, we have a good friend of mine, Jackie Zheng. Jackie is a manufacturing engineer at Lockheed Martin. He went to UMass Amherst. That's where he got his degree in mechanical engineering. He interned at Tesla. We touched on that experience, which was pretty cool. And then went on to work at Lockheed and has been working there for the past 3 years. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. Hey, Jackie, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Adish.
Could you start off by giving us a high level overview of what you do right now?
So currently, I work as a manufacturing engineer at Lockheed Martin Missile and Fire Control up in the Chelmsford location.
Cool. Just to get us started, do you mind giving us some context into your background, where you went to school, where you majored in, and, any prior jobs or internships if you've had any?
Yeah, so I got my bachelor's in mechanical engineering at UMass Amherst, and I decided to go for my master's in engineering management. So that extended period gave me time to look for more internships and job opportunities. So the biggest internship role and opportunity that I got was working at Tesla out in California. And that really created the atmosphere and interest in manufacturing. Like when I learned about it at UMass, I wasn't really interested, probably because of how the teacher was taught or the curriculum. But once I got into
Hmm.
the field, I was uh, very much invested in it. And throughout my educational career, I was very focused on defense as well. So I would take classes in aerospace if I could. And what really, really helped was networking as well.
Hmm.
I had basically, I had Lockheed Martin come. Lockheed Martin, they came to UMass as to do like an information session,
Hmm.
and I walked up to them with my resume, and the first thing they saw was my internship at Tesla, and they're like, "Okay, we want to interview him. We want to see
Hmm.
exactly what he's done so far," and that kind of got me into the door, and eventually started working at Lockheed.
And you've been there since you graduated from your master's program, right?
Yes, yes, since 2019.
Okay. And I know people will be interested in this. How'd you go about landing that internship at Tesla, and what was that like? What was that whole experience like?
So it was by chance. I had a friend whose significant other at that time was looking for a mechanical engineering intern who was also pursuing their master's degree, and I happened to be looking for an internship, and so we linked up. We did a couple interviews, and he liked my background as well as my enthusiasm. So they flew me out there, and I spent the whole summer there working on the Model S and X powertrain line, and it was really awesome. I got to work under conveyor belts. I supported the manufacturing line. I helped the assemblers with whatever they needed.
Awesome. And what year of college was this?
This was the summer of 2018. 2018, yes.
So this was during your master's program, if I'm not
Yes, it
mistaken?
was during my master's program, right in between. I did a 2-year program.
Got it. And do you have any other internships that you think kind of helped you break into Lockheed, or was it just a Tesla one that you primarily had on your resume?
So before that, I also interned at UTC Aerospace, and that also helped me get a glimpse of what the defense industry was all about. It was a mix of defense and commercial, so
Hmm.
I really started liking the whole, uh, I guess, the culture and
Mhm.
being in a big company. Um,
Mhm.
so
I'm curious, what made you want to pick defense as a focus within mechanical engineer? Like, kind of what stood out in terms of that for you?
so I actually had a family friend who I went to church with when I was younger, and he also worked at UTC Aerospace, and he helped me
Mm.
get the internship as well. Throughout the years of going to church with him, he talked about his experience and was always happy to go to work and
Mhm.
enjoyed what he did. And that's something that I want to do, and I currently do. I enjoy doing my work, and I know it helps our warfighters, and um, I know my work is really, really important, which is really gratifying.
That's awesome. And since you've gotten into Lockheed, kind of what positions have you held? How many years have you been there? And I guess, yeah, let's start with that before diving into a typical day that you have right now.
Sure. So I've since 2019, I've always been a manufacturing engineer, going
Hmm.
from basically level one to level two, and supported manufacturing first as on the program side. So I'd be we can probably dive into my daily life, but diving into doing dispositions, rework, and then eventually I switched over to the process side where I got to work on machines. So for our site, we work on microwave assemblies and
Hmm.
basically hybrid microwave assemblies. And I work on component attached, so basically die bonding, working with different types of epoxies, and basically, that's what I currently do. I work on the process side, and like I said, I've always stuck with manufacturing.
Got it. So, what would you say a typical day in your life looks like right now?
So whenever I go in, I always go down to the floor, see what's going on with my machines, how they're functioning, if there's any process improvements that I need to make in the moment or down the line. I always have a list of things that I need to get done. Um, that's one way I like to really stay organized, and to be able to do that and also maintain the support on the floor is really, really important to me. Um, as I tell others, and I've been told myself, our number one customer is our assemblers, is the people on the floor as manufacturing engineers.
Got it. And so, do you, I think people would be curious, do you think a career like yours is something where, regardless of what company you work at, you have to spend a fair amount of time on site versus, working primarily remotely, or does that kind of vary based on what function specifically you sit within?
Yeah, that's definitely based on what functions. Like if you were to work as a program quality engineer or finance, you can do that 100% remotely. What I really like about being a manufacturing engineer is the whole hands-on aspect. And
Hmm.
me personally, I do not like working from home. I
Hmm.
find it distracting in my case. I also tend to snack a lot, so I try to keep that away. But the main thing is I really like hands-on work, and so to be able to be hands-on and to interact with my team. I'm also very, very social, so that's how I like to work. I mean, if I don't have that sort of stimulus, then I'd find work to be very boring.
I'm with you on that. My company doesn't require us to go in, but I'm one of those people. I have to go into the office at least a few times a week, or else just sitting in one place all day would just drive me nuts. So I
Yeah.
definitely hear you on that one. Uh, in terms of skills, and we can talk about tools as well. Like, what kind of software or like hardware experience do you need, or you have to end up learning on the job when you're working a role like yours?
So for manufacturing engineer, you definitely it's nice to have the basic mechanical engineering background. Unfortunately, mechanical engineering, they teach you so much, and I would like to
Mhm.
say you learn maybe 10, you maybe use 10% of what you learn, and a
Mhm.
lot of it's on the job training. Like they're for I'll speak specifically to UMass. Like they did not teach me specifically about hybrid microwave assemblies. They didn't teach me
Mhm.
how to program this machine, but they taught me the fundamentals of how the world works and
Yep.
how mechanics works. And so I was able to use my basic knowledge and apply it. But like I said, there was a lot of learning, and that comes down to the companies themselves and how they structure their training, which is really really important. So that I was very grateful to have many good mentors and managers. I think for me, and I would like to, I can probably speak to most people. That is the make or break,
Mhm.
who you work with and who how much support you get from your managers or supervisors. So I've been very blessed throughout my life to have really good colleagues and very supportive managers who have helped me out along the way.
Yeah, I mean that can make or break your experience at a company or even with a career, right? So if you start off in a specific field and if you don't have the right environment around you, you might be inclined to think that whole field is probably not for you, and which in reality it's most likely just that one specific company or that specific environment that you're in. So uh, I guess what has been the best and toughest part about your job so far? You've been doing this for about 3 years. I'm curious, kind of what do you look forward to and what do you dread?
So, what I look forward to is our full automation line. We are in the process of currently fully automating our machines. That means we are linking each one of our machines to be able to, let's say, talk to each other, to be able to um, be a one piece flow. So that
Hmm.
way we're trying to decrease the amount of human touch time, which also in the end decreases defects or potential risk for defects. And
Hmm.
so I'm heavily involved in that. In fact, I actually help give tours with our customers and VPs and directors who come into our factory. And um, I am I'm very grateful to be involved in it because it's the future. And I would like to say that we're always playing catch up. You know, we
Hmm.
see other companies like let's say Tesla. Like I interned at Tesla, and you had robots building all the cars and assembling them, delivering them to different parts of the factory. And so that is something that we are working towards, and we're one of the few locations that are actually implementing this sort of full automation idea.
Got it. Switching gears into compensation, how much can a mechanical engineer or a manufacturing engineer with similar experience like yours, like either starting out of college or a few years in, expect to make in a year, generally at similar companies, do you think?
So I would say level one, well, depends. So for I guess I can speak to the defense industry. Level one
Hmm.
manufacturing engineer would go from 70 to 76,000.
Hmm.
And if you're going in as manufacturing engineer level two, since if you had prior experience or you had a master's program, a master's degree under your belt, I would say it would be between 82 to 90,000.
Got it. And in terms of career progression for someone like yourself, how does that work? What's kind of the next step? Do you become an engineering manager of some sort, or do you kind of just progress to level 3, 4, 5 and kind of specialize? Like, what are people's options in terms of different ways they want to progress within, manufacturing engineering?
So that's where the whole um, manager role comes into play and how important it is to get support from your supervisor slash manager slash boss. And basically you talk to them and you figure out what path you want to take. For me, I've had experience as an assistant residence director, managing people, and
Mhm.
now I have experience working hands on, but still working in a team.
Mhm.
For me, I currently want to keep going down the engineering path because I love the application side of things. I love
Mhm.
st- being able to work with my hands, but still being able to work with other team members and collaborate with different functions. Um, Basically, you, because I work in such a large company, I
Mhm.
could, if I wanted to, I could move to a different location, or I can go down different routes. And my manager will support that for sure.
So it's kind of either go the manager route or kind of become a special. Is it common to see people who are, in the latter years of their career still being like engineers and kind of specializing in just kind of like the hands-on, like actual implementation type work?
Yes, yes. So we have a few principal engineers, high level engineers, and we also have, like, let's say my current boss right now. He was doing my role as a level 4 engineer, and now he just became a manager. And
Hmm.
I took on his role. So it depends on what the company sees as your potential, but also the path that you want to take. And that was a natural path for him to take because he was there for, I would like to say, approximately 20 years. So not only did he know his process, he knew a lot of the other manufacturing processes. So with that familiarity, he's able to effectively um, manage our
Hmm.
process manufacturing engineers and be able to support each one of the team members.
And how many years do people typically spend within each band? I know it can probably vary based on the company, but how many years can you expect to be at level one, level two, three, etc.?
Mhm.
Just so I think some people might be curious in terms of expectation on how long they'd have to spend doing that before they, if they want to transition into a manager role.
I would say level 1 to 2, I would estimate about a couple years. You should
Hmm.
be bumping up to level 2, and then level 2 to 3, probably in like a few years. And then as you go up, of course, the expectations also increase. So it takes
Yep.
more time to reach those levels, and the salary pay range is also larger. So
Hmm.
it's a matter of also, if you're reaching like the top limit of your salary margin, then and you've been putting in a lot of work and showing that yes, I do deserve the next level, then that's when they start considering.
How much do you think like a level 4 or 5 engineer could make? Like someone with like 10, 15 years experience.
Oh, easily 6 figures. Like, I would like to say level 2, you're already almost hitting 6 figures. So by level 3, 4, um, you're you're pretty comfortable.
Cool. I guess last question for you. What advice would you give people who are looking to get into this specific field?
So my biggest thing, and this is based on my experience with how I got my internships, is
Hmm.
um, networking. That's a huge, huge, huge
Yep.
thing. I know everybody keeps saying networking, networking, and
Yep.
you hear it all over the place. I'll give you a quick story. So I would always go to the defense industries uh, booths at
Hmm.
career fairs every single time. Every single time they remembered me until I think it was my senior year and into my first year as a master's student. They finally were like, you know what, let's give this kid a shot. And
Yep.
although I didn't get the internship, I still got a shot. And
Yep.
the internships that I did get was through networking, through talking to people, because my way of thinking, um, if you if HR or manager of that company has two or three very much qualified or equal levelly qualified engineers in front of them, and they're looking at their resumes, but they're like, oh, but I know Jackie, or I've gotten good recommendations from a fellow colleague. Who are they going to
Hmm.
pick? You know what I mean? So it's it could be the make or break point if you are tied with other, I guess, say, competitors or other people who are also going for the same role as you. So
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more
yeah,
with that. Well, Jackie, this
yeah,
has been great. Thanks so much for taking the time and joining us.
yeah. Thank you for having me.
And that's a wrap. Thanks again for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the episode. As usual, if you'd like to speak to any of the guests featured on the podcast or anyone else in a career that you're interested in, feel free to shoot us a note, hello@consultspot.com, and we'll put you in touch with someone who could give you some personalized career advice. And as usual, follow us on social media. It's ConsultSpot or ConsultSpot app on all platforms. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. See you.